So this video may be a little bit different from my usual content, but I saw something in the news the other day that I really wanted to say a few words on. The news in question hails from the United Kingdom, and when it comes to recent news stories out of the UK, there's just so much that one could say, honestly. It really is like watching a slow motion train derailment. But the item in question that I wanted to comment upon concerns the recent passage of a lifetime smoking ban by the current government of the United Kingdom. Now, you might say, in a nation governed by Fabian fiends who so actively and so blatantly work against the interests of the native English population, who pretty much openly abet criminal conspiracy and are effectively selling England by the pound, pun intended. This is what you wanted to talk about, a smoking ban? That just seems rather innocuous, doesn't it? Well, it is not innocuous, or at least it rightly should not be, at least not to anyone who has a shred of concern for liberty and basic human dignity. But this is pretty much the purest distillation of the nanny state that I have personally yet seen. This is an article on Forbes, obviously, that summarizes the proceedings. It is entitled, "The UK Passes a Lifetime Smoking Ban. Could America be next?" Well, let's hope to hell not. But it goes on to read, the UK Parliament Tuesday passed the Tobacco and Vapes Bill, a landmark piece of legislation that will permanently ban the sale of tobacco products to anyone born on or after January 1st, 2009, ultimately phasing it out for the entire population. So it goes on to explain how this ban works. And in short, no one born after 2008 will ever be able to legally purchase tobacco or nicotine products in the United Kingdom so long as this legislation stands. Those born prior to 2009 will still be able to smoke, but eventually they will all die out. And so the hopes of those behind this legislation are that eventually the UK will be completely smoke free. But coming down here to the section, why the UK smoking ban is a monumental public health win, it reads, smoking is one of the UK's leading causes of preventable death, disability, and illness. Proponents argue correctly that nicotine addiction typically begins in the teen years. Few adults take it up later in life. By removing legal access for an entire generation, the policy bets that the social and commercial ecosystem around smoking will atrophy faster than the illegal market will fill the gap. Personally, I'm quite skeptical that that will be the case, given that these types of prohibitory legislative acts have such a dismal record as regards success. It did not work here in the United States in the 1920s with prohibition, and of course the war on drugs has only created these colossal and insanely violent drug cartels. And so I personally am rather dubious that the demand for smoking will wither before the black market can provide the supply. You know, to quote Milton Friedman, wherever you abolish a free market, you only create a black market. And also, the people behind these types of legislative acts generally do not have the firmest grasp of reverse psychology. By saying that, I mean generally, the more you tell somebody not to do something, the more they're probably going to want to do that thing. And so, once again, I'm skeptical that this will work out quite like they want it to. But setting that aside, it goes on to read, health organizations across the UK, from Asthma and Lung UK to Cancer Research UK, lined up in support. Projections suggest the law will save hundreds of thousands of lives and relieve substantial pressure on the National Health Service. This is kind of the heart of what I wanted to talk about as regards this story, because once more, this is like the purest distillation of the nanny state that I've personally yet seen. And a big reason why I wanted to talk about this is because recently I reviewed a book here on my channel, Henry Hazlitt's The Foundations of Morality. And in my review for that book, I stated that as regards ethics, I am staunchly deontological. I am not a utilitarian in any way, shape, or form. And this is a perfect illustration of why I am not, because the arguments behind this type of legislation are utilitarian in nature. But utilitarianism fails as a philosophy because utility is subjective. The real question here is better for who? It's certainly not better for the people who would like to smoke in the UK. Rather, the key here lies in this line: relieve substantial pressure on the National Health Service. That is, who it's better for is politicians desperately trying to salvage an underfunded bureaucracy. But my entire point with this really is that this is like the nature of the nanny state. This is the nature of the welfare state. People love to tout that quote unquote free healthcare, but there is always a price, always a price. Nothing is ever free. There's no such thing as a free lunch. And the price is that when the state is going to be picking up the tab, they are going to be dictating the terms. And so this is what we are left with: a paternalistic nanny state dictating to the populace like children. But again, when the state is allowed to assume the function of a parent, the citizens should not be surprised when they are relegated to the roles of children. This is just the nature of the beast when it comes to the state. The nature of government is akin to the Wendigo from Native American folklore. The more it eats, the hungrier it gets. But once again, to kind of refer back to the utilitarian deontological divide here, if I may quote Whittaker Chambers from his autobiography, Witness, freedom is a need of the soul and nothing more. It reads here, once again, projections suggest the law will save hundreds of thousands of lives. That may be so, but the question is there more to life than only surviving? Like, to quote Abraham Lincoln, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. And is this really what we should want? Again, a nanny state dictating to grown-ass adults that they cannot smoke, that they cannot destroy their health if they want. Of course, because Big Brother is going to be the one that has to deal with the consequences financially when it comes to this. And so, of course, once again, they're going to be dictating the terms. But what I mean is, it is the most sovereign of rights that you as an individual have a right to your own life. And that includes the right to destroy that life if you so choose. I mean, hell, I'll say it up front. Smoking is utterly retarded. I mean, it's basically suicidal. I mean, you're destroying your lungs, you're destroying your health. But my point here is that that is your right. That is your God-given right as an individual to do that. And that right has now been totally abolished for the population of the UK with the passage of this legislation. It might save lives, but again, it's not the quantity that's in question here. It is the quality of those lives. And so, like I say, I just wanted to say a few words on this topic because it should be very alarming to anyone, again, who cares philosophically about liberty. In the words of Penn Jillette, freedom is the right to be stupid. And for the people of the UK, they no longer have that right when it comes to smoking. Instead, Big Brother has determined that they will do the thinking for them. But again, this is just the price when it comes to the welfare state, the nanny state. You will be dictated to, you will forfeit freedoms for comfort and security. But is that really a trade-off that you want to make? It's not a trade-off I want to make. I will tell you that for damn sure right now. If this doesn't gall you, if this doesn't chap your ass to know that you, if you are a citizen of the UK as an adult, have now been stripped of a freedom that you can no longer do with your body and your health what you want to, then you are truly the tyrant's ideal subject. I will say that. But anyway, this has just been some scattered thoughts on a recent development out of the UK, that hellish police state, soon to be caliphate if things do not change. But again, this may seem rather innocuous given all the shit that comes out of that country. But once more, it should not be. And this is what the UK has been reduced to, and what the rest of the West, what America will eventually be reduced to if people do not stand for more than just creature comforts. I will say, if people do not recognize that, again, there's more to living than just surviving. But anyway, so these have just been my thoughts on the UK's smoking ban. It is appalling. It is horrifying, or should be anyway. And it is rankly fascist, and I mean that in like the genuine sense of the word. That word is bandied about nowadays so much that it has been bled of almost all meaning. But I think this truly qualifies of the state dictating to the citizens the most petty of permissions. So, yeah, just my thoughts. This is the world we live in. This is the world that you live in now if you are a resident of the United Kingdom. Fight the power. That's all I can say. Fight the power.